This is Renee Bymark with Elder Circle. Join us this month with the Lighthouse Center for Vision Loss with Sam Singer and Nancy Northgard. And what are we going to be talking about?
We're going to share some information about services that are available to Grand Rapids and Itasca County residents to help them learn new ways of doing everyday tasks despite their vision loss.
And Nancy?
And show you some adaptive ways of doing tasks in the kitchen.
Great, thanks. Hi, I'm Renee Bymark with Elder Circle, and today joining me from the Lighthouse Center for Vision Loss is Sam Singer and Nancy Northgard. Sam is from Duluth and Nancy is from Grand Rapids. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'd like you guys to explain a little bit about your program and where you're located and how that actually helps with people in Itasca County or the regions that you service.
Sure. Well, as you mentioned, I'm from Duluth. Our center is based in Duluth, but we serve Northland residents throughout the Arrowhead. We're really focused on making sure people in the Grand Rapids, Itasca area are aware of our services, where we'll come out and visit you in your home, find out how vision loss is affecting your everyday living, and find out what we can do to make things easier despite vision loss and help keep you doing what's important.
So how would somebody actually find out where to call, what to do, if they actually had maybe a family member or maybe it's themselves with some concerns and wondering if this would be beneficial for them?
I would say start by giving the Lighthouse Center for Vision Loss a call. Our phone number is 218-624-4828, and just talking about the difficulties that your loved one or you yourself are experiencing, and we'll help figure out how to help you.
And so Sam, what is it that you actually do for the Lighthouse?
My role at the Lighthouse is to increase awareness and make sure people know about our services. We partner very closely with Minnesota State Services for the Blind to help reach seniors specifically in their home and make sure that they know that there are services available to help them.
And Nancy, how about you?
I'm working as a certified vision rehab therapist and a certified orientation and mobility specialist. What that boils down to is teaching adaptive daily living skills and cane techniques for persons with vision loss. We serve people ages 18 and older, and we do have another program serving younger students, high school age.
Oh, wow. Okay. So somebody comes and calls the Lighthouse and wants to understand some of the services. What would happen next?
Well, after finding about their specific difficulties, we would look at whether partnering with State Services for the Blind to find support for training in techniques of daily living or orientation and mobility or assistive technology is possible. Some funding is available through that avenue. Or our low vision occupational therapists are certified occupational therapists that have additional training in low vision techniques, and they can also serve some clients' needs, and they're able to bill to medical insurance if that's if funding is an issue.
So somebody works with them on the billing, somebody goes into the home, and once you get there, what's decided? How does it decide what they need help with?
Well, usually there's something on the referral about what the person is wanting. Like if they want to learn to cook without vision. They cook for many years, but just to learn how to deal with that without vision. Or maybe they want to learn how to organize their clothing and their other tools, other things in their house, medications, or if they want to be able to get around.
So it's almost everyday activities that from the time you get up till the time you go to bed.
Right.
And the average things that we take for granted until there's an issue with your vision. So now, is this for people who are completely have lost their vision, or could they have some vision still?
Can be either.
Most of our clients actually have some remaining vision, and that's a misperception we're trying to work against. A lot of people think, oh, Lighthouse Center for Vision Loss, that's not me, I'm not blind, I don't need that help. But really, our mission is to foster independent, vibrant lives for individuals with vision loss. So as soon as vision loss starts to affect your daily life, then you should think about asking for help, and there's stuff that you can do to continue doing what's important to you, whether it's reading, cooking, cleaning, getting out in the community, anything.
And recently, you've started offering some classes that will be offered in the Grand Rapids area for people to attend. We'll have multiple different times and dates that people would be able to call Elder Circle to get the information for, or the Lighthouse. And at those classes, what do you cover?
Well, one of the classes we're going to be focusing on adaptive cooking techniques, which Nancy will be able to demonstrate some of the things. There's a variety of things that you can still do in the kitchen despite vision loss, and we're just going to scratch the surface here today. But that's one of the topics that will be covered. Other possible topics could include adaptive leisure, mobility, getting around the community. It's really based off of the people who are interested in training, what they want to learn how to do.
So you've had people who have attended these classes. Comments from some of those attendees?
One of our recent classes we had at our center in Duluth, individuals learned how to make a salad, safe chopping techniques, and how to prepare the lettuce. And one of our participants exclaimed that last week she had lettuce, or she had a salad every day of the week because she felt confident in making herself a salad, and that was something she hadn't thought she could continue doing.
And so that came from the classes, or somebody coming into the home, helping her, to gain her confidence to be able to do these things, right? So we're going to demonstrate a few things. The first thing that Nancy's going to demonstrate is slicing a carrot using some adaptive techniques.
First of all, if you notice, there's a contrasting color with this white cutting board. That could be really important for somebody with some vision, just to locate their items.
And does that just help because the color is so dark, and then you have such a contrasted color that something on top of it stands out much more?
Right.
Okay.
Right. And the peeler I'm using, it isn't any special peeler. You don't necessarily have to buy special equipment. Just one of those OXO peelers you can get at Target or wherever. And so it's up to the person what they're comfortable using with a peeler. And then the knife is, I just have a paring knife with a sheath. It's really important to have a sharp knife, not a dull one, and to place it with the blade facing away from you.
And I noticed that it's a different color.
It is. Sometimes it doesn't happen.
It does.
Just happens here.
Okay. Well, go ahead. I'll let you demonstrate the carrot.
So with peeling, it's just like you would do, like anyone would do. You're peeling away from yourself, and then if you're not able to see it, you could feel with your finger when it's smooth, and you know you got the peel off. Okay. So I'm just going to peel. The key for someone, I think for anyone, but especially someone visually impaired or blind, is to be organized. Have your materials organized, where you place them, put things back in the same place. It sounds like common sense, and it is, but it makes a huge difference.
It's a good habit. And Nancy placed the knife at the top of the cutting board so that she knows where it is, and she won't be in a position to have to feel around for it.
Okay.
And now with cutting, okay, I'm going to grab a fork. This is one thing you can do. You stick a fork in. Oops, I didn't stick it the right way. This is also important to get the flat side of your vegetable if you can. This one's kind of rolling. And one lady that we had in the last group, she, that was a big discovery to her, just making sure that the item, her potato, was flat, or her carrot, instead of rolling, because it made it easier to control. Yeah.
So like first slicing a tomato in half and then placing the flat side down so it doesn't move around and it's easier to chop.
And you're going inside each of the fork edges.
I just stab the fork into the carrot, and then I'm putting the paring knife through the tines and cutting, slicing.
Okay.
Just slice.
And using that more like a guide almost.
Yep.
Instead of your fingers.
You could use your fingers too. And we have some other guides that could be used, but like a finger guard, I don't have that with us. But I have to say, the fewer things you use, the better. and especially with someone who's done this all their life, they don't want more items because it's so easy to lose them.
So you're using basically almost anything you'd probably find in a kitchen. You're not going out and having to buy additional utensils.
No.
So we've cut the carrots.
And then the knife, okay, I finished with a knife, and I put it, let's pretend there's a faucet here. I'm facing it behind the faucet with the
blade out.
the blade away from me.
Okay.
And for me, I would always wash the knives first so that I don't cut myself if you're putting something in your water. So I'm really done with the carrot. I have some carrot pieces.
Great for a top of a salad. So now the next thing we were going to talk about is your cutting board stability. I mean, we talked about the contrasting. How about the stability of the cutting board? So it's, I know I do that at home. It slides around while I'm trying to cut something. So what's the recommendations for that?
For that, I mean, like this works, having a dishcloth underneath it or a grip liner. And we have
those drawer grip liners that you can use.
Yeah,
that you can get.
Use the shelf liner. You can get it Target or Dollar Tree. Just cut it to the shape you want it to be. And that stabilizes bowls or a cutting board or anything you're working with. So.
Okay, also you've talked about organizing. So I see a tray over here. What's the best way when you're going to organize to make sure you're going to prep? You're going to make something in the kitchen and you want to prep.
The first thing is to have a tray of some sort, and I have this. It doesn't have to be this tray. It could be a cookie sheet or like a jelly roll pan.
So just something to put all of your items on that you need to bring to your working space that you're going to start working on. Okay.
Correct. And get everything out that you're going to use, because what happens otherwise is you find you need the baking powder and you don't have any. And you somehow or other have to get to the store. So get everything out first.
Okay. I do that too at home.
Yeah,
I'm running down to the store to get those eggs.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the things on your tray.
Okay.
We could set that right down there.
Am I tilting it? Okay. What I have some canned goods. Okay. I have some canned goods on my tray. And, oops, okay. And this happens to be cream of mushroom soup. And there's different ways to label a canned good.
And so how is this one labeled?
This one has just a white index card with a black marker. And we also have Braille up above. We label it usually at the Lighthouse a couple of ways, because we may have someone who's a Braille reader, and you can't really see it, but it's dots at the top.
This is one of my favorite tricks. Not only does it help with some of the visual noise to make something easier to read, you can see it more quickly.
So it's covering up the advertisement piece, and it's just literally okay.
But then as you use items, you can set your stack of index cards aside, and then when it's time to go grocery shopping, you've got your list already there. You know, you need cream of mushroom, green beans,
so now that's
your
list, part of your list for next time. Now I also see a letter on top.
Yes, there's an M for mushroom, and this would be, there's some people that maybe the Braille or the print doesn't work. So something more tactile that isn't Braille, like maybe a magnetic letter, like this. And this is just an M to put on top of the item. Works.
And so you have another can here, same way. So it's got the Braille.
It has the Braille for the green beans and the print. And we just used like a 2020 pen or a Sharpie pen. Works. And there's a rubber band around the can. And as Samantha said, this can be used to make a grocery list too. As you finish, you take the card off and put it in your drawer, especially if it's an item that's used quite a bit, like maybe cream of mushroom soup or the beans. And it was the beans, and it has one of these lids with a top.
Okay.
And the magnetic letter, it's a G for green beans.
Perfect. I'll set those up here.
Okay.
So here I also see that we have some garlic salt relabeled into a jar. Is that purposeful that they're relabeled?
It is. It really helps to have like a spice shelf you know, if you have one that moves out, or just a spice rack. And the jar is wide mouth, so could dip into it. I mean, with measuring spoons, or
So easy to get into.
yeah, easy to get into.
And then it's bigger, so you can put a bigger label on it. So if you were to try and label a regular can of cinnamon that's smaller, the label would wrap around a couple times, and doesn't
So
matter how big it
relabeling
is.
your spices, putting it so, as you say, block out noise, you're not on it that advertised label, and then a big opening that would really help.
That does help.
And these
And
are
this
just
has
mason
braille.
jars.
Yeah, this has braille and, of course, the large print. The spices, of course, you can go by smell too. And one of the other things to mention is, in cupboards or with the spices, clear out anything that you're not using. That will reduce, you know, confusion and clutter, and just make it easier to locate items.
So the next thing I'm going to talk about, I saw your measuring spoons here have some interesting markings on them. Do you want to explain those?
Okay, this is just a regular set of measuring spoons. They do have good contrast, so the black and the white. But we put just a spotline marker, or a puff paint type marker, this orange. And we did a big T for the tablespoon. And for the teaspoon, just one dot. And it's usually on the hand, somewhere on the handle. And then we have for half a teaspoon, we have 2 dots.
So labeling
And
these,
so on. And it's
yeah.
like
So
a quarter teaspoon would be 4 dots. And
So
you
it's
could do
time
the
consuming
same.
when you first do it, but once you have it done, this lasts through everything, stays on there, and you can easily just feel those bumps right on there, so you could identify what your spoons are.
Right.
Okay, now you have another set of spoons here too, and
These are a set of stainless steel spoons, and they're just bent. And the reason for that, they're just regular spoons we bent. The same thing. This would be 1 teaspoon, because you see the 1 dot. Half a teaspoon, and a quarter of a teaspoon.
and what's the reasoning for bending them?
Bending them to dip into something that's liquid, like oil, or we have, in this case, vanilla.
And so relabeled again, another what I would call a spice or an additive, and relabeled it so that you can easily dip into it. Larger mouth again,
Just dip in.
and much easier. Okay, perfect.
And I would say a lot of the things that Nancy does when she works with clients are based in modifying things that they already have. It's not about trying to get them to go out and replace everything in their kitchen and buy something new. It's
These
about,
are all everyday
the stuff they're already
yes.
familiar with, and just making simple modifications that make things easier.
Right, like marking their stove, or if they have a timer that they use. We do have a large base timer, but maybe they have one that they've used for years. Marking it with the orange dots or something, so they can feel it for the minutes.
Could adapt to any kind of timer that you would have at home, basically.
Right.
That you could put those dots on it so they could adjust.
Yeah. This one just happens to be a low vision timer, and we have put dots on these too, if this wasn't large enough for someone to read.
Now we have 2 cups of coffee here.
Can I show one more timer?
Oh, sure, yes.
We have one more timer I like. It's an audible timer, and this one, it will speak, and we marked the minute button and the start and stop, because usually most people are timing for so many minutes. So just would say, oh, it gives the time, okay.
So you can set the timer, it'll go off, and then
Yes.
that way it'll just tell you how
Yes.
much time is left.
Right.
There's a variety of talking devices. There's talking watches, talking clocks, and
This is just one of them.
it just whatever someone prefers.
Now, can you explain why you have 2 cups of coffee here that are, so we can tilt them this way, they can kind of see them. So we have coffee in both of these cups, the exact same kind. And
The reason that we do is just showing contrast. This one, the white and the black, this is easier for someone who's visually impaired to use, because they can tell the color difference. Um,
I'm
And
going to
it's-
tilt it again
yeah,
so we can
tilt it.
see it.
okay.
Okay.
And this other one, it's blue with black. This is more difficult. So maybe with this cup, to use that liquid level indicator, we have
And
this
there's
little-
also liquid level indicators, but how about a finger? Is there a
Yes.
finger method?
I have to say the best methods are the ones you have right with you, not extra equipment. So with this cup that's dark and dark, you can, even with a hot liquid, just put an index finger over the edge and pour, but you can kind of lift it because it just feel the heat, when you're pouring. Some people go by weight. They can do that, or the sound when they're pouring. But I would say the majority would maybe raise a finger with something hot, or have their finger with something cold over the edge.
And contrast is a big thing that Nancy works with on clients. It's more than just how to tell if you're filling a mug with coffee, but working in adding contrast into their home to make things easier. Contrast in your shelves so that you know where your plates and your cups are and putting things away. Contrast in the bathroom, on stairs, things like that. Anything that can help increase safety and prevent injury from happening.
Right.
Contrast is a big tool that people can learn to use themselves, not just when someone's there working
Could
with
be
them.
rugs too, because those can be hazardous, and maybe taping a rug down with like an orange reflective type tape or something helps.
So that they allow around the edges. So
Yeah,
that they
around the
would-
edges.
So they would see that.
Yes.
Now we have one more utensil here.
Okay.
Do you want to explain that one?
This one is a talking thermometer. It's really good for when you're cooking meats to determine if something's done. Especially if you have something like pork or chicken, or, any meat.
Or even if you're out grilling.
Yeah.
I know we've
grilling.
worked with clients who really want to keep grilling outside when the weather's nice. In Minnesota, we love our grilling.
And this is just the shield on it. You take it off, you stick it in the meat. I don't have any meat with me, let's just pretend. And then turn this on. And then you stick it in the meat. And then you wait a minute and it will tell you whatever the temperature is. And there is a range for various meats, what you want them to cook to be.
So just a basic meat thermometer that actually speaks, so
Yes.
that it tells you, instead of just being able to visually see on the meat thermometer
Right.
what the temp was, or if it's done, well done.
That's right.
Okay.
And I mean, if a person does not have a meat thermometer, they can time their meat. Like time a hamburger, say they want a well done one, and say it's 8 minutes for them, depending on how thick the patty is. They'll learn that along with how their stove operates. And they probably know their stove even better than me.
Now, and I see some oven mitts over there.
Yeah,
So
these
what?
are handy. These are kind of big. They come right up almost to my elbow. And these are very handy for taking things in and out of the oven. And one of the things I do is have a person pull the rack out, try the oven when it's cold, make sure the racks are in position, pull the rack out, set the item on the rack, and push it in using the oven mitt. So then when it comes time the oven is hot and they're putting that item in, they don't have to fumble to locate, figure out
How far it has
how far it has to go in. Yeah.
So, and I'm
pull the tray
assuming
out,
this,
stand
because if anyone's like
inside.
me, when I'm reaching in the oven, that oven can burn you way up to the
Yes.
top of your wrist
Yep.
sometimes. So that really gives you a little extra protection all the way up on your arm a little bit. Simple things, very easy to find something like this if you don't have it at home, instead of those just single hot pads that some people use.
Yes.
So when you go into a home, there's so many different things here that could be done. I'm assuming each person has individual goals, things that they have concerns about, that they want help with, that you help them with. How much time do you usually spend in a home with somebody?
Per visit or?
Per visit, I guess per visit, and how many times do you go back to visit
Okay.
with the individual?
It's all very individualized.
Okay.
Usually what happens is the State Services for the Blind Counselor has given some time to us to just assess what the person needs, and then the instructor would determine how much time along with the person they're seeing. For example, if someone wants to work a lot on cooking techniques, it could take, the time would vary. Maybe it's 10 hours or more. But usually visits are probably 1.5 to 2 hours, depending on what the need is. But it's so individualized.
And do you ever experience when you're meeting with a client, they had identified cooking as something they wanted to focus with, but as you meet with them and discuss the ways vision is affecting their life, you might find out that there's another area of their life where learning, some adaptive techniques might help them, and then
that happens a lot, because usually person has an idea what they want when we're coming in. Maybe it's just cooking, but then they say, "Oh yeah, I'm having a difficulty with writing a letter," and so we shows writing guides and signing their name and maybe telling time. There's other things that come up, or labeling clothing. And I say, "Oh, I didn't realize there were other things."
So things that they weren't even aware that would really benefit in their home, just to make their independence and their confidence, just to be able to stay in their home and be able to do it all on their own.
Yes, and I would say that is a big emphasis that we've had at the Lighthouse, just trying to keep people in their homes so they can stay as independent as possible.
And so you service a lot of the Grand Rapids area and
all over.
All over.
It could be, we cover a big area.
All 7 counties of the Arrowhead region.
Okay.
Itasca, St. Louis, Cochise, Carlton, all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I have somebody in Brainerd right now.
And the classes that you're doing too are not only in Grand Rapids, though. You are also offering those in different counties and cities?
Yep, we're working by community. That is a relatively new offering to provide training in a group setting, but we're finding some really good results. People learning things alongside their peers, and it's a really great environment, and to find support. I should also mention we have a local low vision support group here in Grand Rapids that meets monthly, so that's an option if someone is kind of interested in learning what's out there. They can attend one of those.
And where is that held at?
Grand Manor, Building 2. Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, the nice thing with the support groups is a lot of times when I go into the home, each person feels kind of isolated just in their own home, and they don't know anyone else maybe who's blind or visually impaired. And when they get together in a group, it's not a sad situation. It's a situation where people share what's worked for them and share resources and have fun together. So
it's always, those support groups are always so beneficial for people. Well, I want to thank both of you very much for coming and showing just a small amount of the different benefits that can happen from just having somebody come into the home with some adjustments and some changes. This is Renee Bymark with Elder Circle. If you need any more information, you can call 218-999-9233. Thank you.